She was sitting on the floor and she had these little cards that she had written things on. And the lines and the feedback that she was getting from the farmers, she was kept on writing what they were saying. So it also wasn't this top-down. It was, I could immediately see it was an inclusive type of research. And that kind of got me hooked a bit.
That was actually great, having 20 farmers joining this research, not as actors or stakeholders. They joined this research as co-researchers, and we discussed many of the research questions together, so it was really coming also from them what they want to achieve with this 2 years period of time we had together. And the way we did it was through focus group discussions, through field visits. We went to several other farms just to understand other production methods.
Each of us here has a diary where you need to write every week what happened to your farm. What were the challenges? What did you plant? What did you harvest? Where did you sell?
And we discussed these results together. And I feel that was a very powerful way for the farmers themselves to understand their perception and to understand their involvement in a very broken food system.
So the workshops have come really from the needs of the farmers that have come out of the research. So if there's been a gap that's been identified, then we'll focus in. Then we will construct and create a workshop that speaks to all those questions and then have a dialogue. And then we'll write something thereafter that comes from the preparation for the workshop and then what's come out of the workshop as well. So the thing that gets documented is much more collaborative. So the WhatsApp group really serves as a platform to harvest information. For example, okay, we're doing a workshop on seed saving in 2 weeks' time. Is there anything particular that anybody wants to learn about? I'm thinking that I'm going to outline it like this, X, Y, Z, but do you have anything else? And so people will say, yes, storage. I keep getting weevils. Why do I keep getting weevils when I make sure that the seeds are clean? And then I open them 6 months later and there's holes in them. And then we can really guide it. So we can talk about storage in terms of insect life cycles and then use weevils as an example. So when Nicole leaves, what's amazing is that she's created this WhatsApp group and she doesn't dominate it. She allows that discussion to take place. She wants that discussion to take place from within. And you're only going to have discussion taking place from within is when they feel safe in that space. And that is what has taken time to create.
From different areas, and I think we wouldn't have become so close and even personal, knowing each other inside out, but this research really brought that about. It's now like we've grown up together.
I've never been part of a research group where there has been such reciprocity and such inclusivity. One of the outcomes that's not really written about is this sense of trust, and people are able to say things that they wouldn't usually talk about.
Another thing that instilled me is being able to share my knowledge, my experience, even my indigenous knowledge, and be able to make use of it, not to be ashamed of it.
Most burning issues for farmers is access to land. So farmers are cultivating on 2 square meters, some have bigger plots and share them with other farmers, but it's not a lot of land. So a simplified and unified way of accessing land, and there is fallow land in the Cape Flats. Farmers are applying for land, but they wait for years, and this should be simplified, and I think this can be simplified.
Most of us as farmers here, we don't have our own lands. We've been listed lands from the schools, from the churches, from the creches. So the school will list me the land for 5 years.
Farmers face then the challenge how to invest in land, like soil building as one of the crucial challenges for farming in the Cape Flats can't be done in a couple of years. So farmers really want to invest in their soils, they really want to invest in HS fruit trees, but this is only possible if farmers have the security.
The Department of Agriculture now, they want now to start giving us resources if you've got a lease of 9 to 10 years. You see. So it's so tricky indeed.
Yeah, the main outcomes of the process is that there are so many power relations farmers are dealing with every day. So they are dependent on policy, they are dependent on a very complicated way of accessing lands. So they are dependent on inputs, and inputs are extremely expensive. So with an average income of 500 rands, you can't afford compost and you can't afford seeds. So these farmers are then dependent on the Department of Agriculture, on subsidies, on NGOs who are providing subsidies. The next dependency is created by their marketing channels. A retailer system which takes the produce out of the communities, out of the townships, to a wealthier community, wealthier neighborhoods in the mostly white areas of Cape Town. And farmers are price takers, small-scale farmers are price takers, I think, all over the world. And especially in Cape Town, we found out as farmer group, and it was very powerful for the farmers to really understand that they have no clue how prices are made and what is the real value of their produce.
For example, if they come to my farm, I will rather ask you, how much do you want to pay for this, instead of me being confident and say, this is how much I know. But the market made us aware that you need to calculate your costs so that you will know exactly what you want with your vegetables.
Many of the farmers in the community gardens would sell their produce to middle-class communities and would get the income and purchase food from the supermarkets. If the logic was inverted, that they actually sold the goods locally, it would address the local food insecurity problem, which is endemic, and it would be able to generate some income for them.
Because our main challenges as the farmers was markets. We grow good quality vegetables and then we didn't have enough markets.
By creating local markets, it's not only beneficial to the farmers, it's also beneficial for the people living in the Cape Flats. Because if we look at the Cape Flats and the food which is available, it's basically commercially farmed food from supermarkets or from spaza stores. And many of these communities, they do not have access to organic and healthy food. And then we come into the whole discussion of food justice and who deserves what kind of food.
When I walk into the shop, I'm not comfortable buying it because I'm going to feed my family. And secondly, if I keep on buying in the shop that is not chemical free, I'm actually supporting something to keep on going.
Instead of coming and buy my own produce there, they'll rather go for that produce in the stands, because they will see that, okay, my cabbages are too small and these cabbages there are too big. But they don't know that cabbage is too big, but it's unhealthy. They say, no, in my home, we are a family of 6. So I need to buy this big cabbage. And this cabbage, we will eat from it for about 3 days. But that food is doing nothing for their nutrition. Yeah. So that's the challenge. That's the challenge that we're facing as farmers here. So we need to take our produce to the cities.
Oftentimes when you sell to other markets, you meeting the food preferences of another community that does not intersect with the food preferences in the local community. Whereas if they were planting for local communities, they would be planting the vegetables that local communities eat. And and then you can encourage for them to diversify.
Only 9% of the farmers are currently happy with the marketing system, and that farmers want to grow for their communities. So that's why we had this policy meeting, and I'm really glad people from the city of Cape Town came and we approached them together, so teaming up academia and farmers to provide support strategies towards local markets.
27% of children is stunted. Why? Because of lack of nutrition. And I was shocked when I discovered that research. So for me as an urban agriculture farmer, it's vital that we get the support from government because they support commercial farmers. It's not that we started this thing a few years back. It's been going on since the first settlers arrived here. That's why I'm part of this committee that will engage with government to top level. There's no going back now.
The Mayor asked us to do this. The reason is that we are looking at reviewing the urban agriculture policy. So we're here to listen and to understand what the issues are so that we can then start to incorporate those into how we start to take things forward.
This is the first time that we've been part of a research for this long and to up to here. We've always been specimens, we've always been part of statistics where people come and they do research and we don't know what happens to it. So we've also been part of a situation like this where we talk and talk and talk and the officials take notes and then they shove it under a pile of papers on their desk and that's it. So I want to highlight that we are taking notes because now we have decided that genoeg is genoeg. It is now time to act.